at the future dissertation defense, I'm gonna send my professors this part of the episode.
5, 6, 7, 8. Rock step, triple step, rock step, cha cha cha, rock step, cha cha cha.
Hi, my name's Kate, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name is Lou. My pronouns are also they, them.
Just two they, thems talking about dance.
Dance and stuff. Kate, today we have a super special guest. Who is that guest?
We have Jason Hsu here. Jason uses he, him pronouns and is a Lindy Hop dancer, a performer, an educator, and founder of Switch Taipei, which is all about queer equality in dance. He's a mask-presenting follow and lives in Taipei, Taiwan. Jason weaves his experience with dancing and academia. He has a master's degree in Anthropology of Dance and now is headed to become a doctor of dance at the National University of the Arts. He's getting his Ph.D. in dance, which is so freaking cool.
Jason, we're really excited to talk to you today.
Hello, everyone.
Well, since this is a dance podcast and we love dance classes and we love starting dance classes with icebreaker questions, we wanted to start this with an icebreaker question. Jason, if you could be a flower, what kind of flower would you be?
Damn. Oh, flower? I never thought of this question. I'm not sure if it's a kind of flower, but I really like lavender. I don't know if that's a flower.
That counts as a flower. Oh, lavender. Okay. That's very nice. Yes. Love that. Very fragrant, calming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the color, because I don't know if I've seen any videos or photos of me on the internet. It's always like there has to be a little bit purple or a lot of purple.
Oh, I
and
love
lavender
that.
is like my favorite shade of purple.
I definitely know your beautiful, like bright purple shirt with the ruffles. It's so good. I even saw in your email signature, you have an illustration of you in that shirt. Yes. It's so good.
Yes. That was actually designed by one of my friends in Taipei. She's like a designer, illustrator, and she helped me to create that image. And then, the actual shirt, the ruffle one, it was the design first. And then I brought the design to the tailor and said, can you make this shirt?
Amazing.
So it's the opposite.
Oh my God. I thought that it was a drawing of you and your favorite shirt, but the shirt came from your favorite drawing of you.
Exactly.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yes.
I love that bit of Jason lore. That's really, really good.
And it is so lavendery too. It looks like lavender. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of dance and love for dance, where it could be like a city, a venue, a place in nature, like where is your favorite place that you've ever danced?
Oh no. I kind of knew this question would come in our chat. I'm never ready for this question. So like the first thing that come into my mind, I'll probably say Moptown. So Moptown is I'm saying that the old Moptown because that's where I did my field work in Baltimore. So it's the community,
Baltimore,
the swing, the swing dance community.
I have heard that Baltimore's swing dance community is like off the chain. So is that their event that they have out there?
So Bobtown is the name of the venue.
Oh, God.
So when I was there, it was always like, oh, we're going to Mobtown for the social, Monday social, Friday social, and then I was there for around 1.5 months. For my field work. And I also noticed that Mobtown kind of become like a sort of identity for dancers from Baltimore. So outside of Baltimore, if you meet like dancers outside of Baltimore, meeting dancers from Baltimore, then they would say, oh, they're from Mobtown. They wouldn't say they're from Baltimore.
I love that your dance anthropologist came out a little bit in that story. I can't wait to get into that more. That's so cool.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Beautiful answers. Love that. It's cool to hear that there's like identity for you there, but I wonder like we'll get into like some of the other questions. Where is your original dance identity? Like where did you start? How did you get into dance and what did that look like for you?
So my dancing journey went a little bit all over the place. So I started dancing in 2014, but I didn't start in Taiwan. I started in Italy because I was doing my exchange student program there
Oh, in
in
Italy. What
Rome,
part of
Italy.
Italy?
Rome, doing my study there. And then I found Lindy Hop, and I've never heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
So I started dancing there, and then 3 months. Well, at the first lesson, as most of us would know that as a like masked male presenting person entering the class, they didn't let me choose the role, so I started as leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months into the learning, I switched to follow. But
Yeah.
kind of like secretly, oh, I practice with my classmates, that sort of thing. At the socials, I still dance as lead for most of the time in 2014. And then I moved back to Taiwan because I finished my study there. And then I found out that, oh, actually in Taiwan, there were already like 2 or 3 communities in Taipei.
Huh?
So I continued dancing in Taipei. So from 2015 up to now. So it's been what 10, 11 years of Taipei.
Wow. And was there like dance for you before that, or was it just random?
It's kind of random. Like I did not have any like official training, like dance training, but I enjoyed a lot with my sister. It was my college time. Like, we would stay home and then we YouTube those K-pop girl group, K-pop dance tutorial.
Amazing, as one
And
does.
then yeah. So we did a little bit that. And I think that was kind of my first step, a little dip into like dancing, but it was like all self-taught kind of situation. So there's not much of like, oh, do this step, do this step. It's just we copying whatever we're seeing. And I think now that I look back, I think this is a really good way to start just by really, copying and seeing and trying to do things instead of, learning step by step. Obviously, learning step by step is a good way to learn dancing, but I feel like starting with just copying, really like making all the visuals into putting those visuals into our body, it's something also pretty cool as well.
Absolutely.
I also like, wow, Rome, what an intimidating place to be deciding to follow as a masculine presenting person. I also love hearing that you, like 3 months in, you're like, let me start following and stuff too. I would love to hear a little bit more about like, what's your attraction to following and like what made you like break all those social rules to get to it?
Okay, as I don't know, well, not every follow, but I think a lot of follows in Lindy Hop would fall in love first with swivels when
Oh
and
yeah, you gotta get the swivels in. Uh-huh.
so did I. So I like the thought that came to me, like why wouldn't I follow? It's actually when I first saw my follower teacher. It's like demonstrating just swing outs or something, and then I saw swivels, and then I was like, that's beautiful.
Mm.
And I try to see if the leader teacher is doing that, but the leader is not doing that. So I was like, why? If I keep dancing as lead, like at what point I can do swivels,
Right.
right? And then I was like, damn, I'm gonna do to follow because I wanted to try swivel so much. And then I think that's just the initial thoughts. And I think I was really lucky that around 3 months, yeah. So that was the initial thought. And then few weeks later, there's like a Rome Lindy exchange, like an event. And then I saw 2 male couple dancing together, like male
Oh,
couple dancing
yeah.
together. And then at the time, I was not that this open and this vocal about my queer identity. So at the time, I was like, I knew I was gay, and then I was like, I was not expressing myself that much as now.
Mhm.
So seeing 2 men dancing together really inspires me, and I was like, oh, someone who looks like me can follow,
Mhm.
then I should like I feel like I should like start following, and then I get to do the swivels.
Yeah.
I am just so excited about what you're saying because it points to so much about why it's important to be able to do both or either.
Yeah, and swivel envy from Lindy Hop leads is a thing. It's because you don't get to swivel because you truly need someone like pulling you forward to get a good swivel, and the lead is never being pulled forward. Rarely ever is being pulled forward by the fall. Have you ever gotten a swivel in when you're leading? Have you ever been able to do it?
I mean, I tried so many times. I think theoretically it works, but practically it works still, but it's really tricky
Yeah,
because
it
it's
is
good.
really
You see,
hard.
you're rock stepping, creating a direction with your rock step, and then if you change that to swivel, it kind of on the spot, so the tension and the dynamic changes a little bit. So it's I tried.
I have also tried and have not succeeded. I'm like, well, you're better at me. So I'm like, have you maybe done it? Do you identify as a follow? Is that like your primary role?
Yes, I would like at this moment, yes. I don't know about future, but at this moment for sure. I actually, like this idea of roles can like how I connect myself, like how I connect my own identity to the role has also changes a lot throughout my dancing journey. So I think at the beginning when I first switched to follow, I have really strong feelings about it. I feel like if I don't dance as follow, then I'm not representing my queerness.
Mm.
I'm not I'm not expressing my queerness through dancing if I'm not dancing as a follow. And that stick with me for a long time. I think that's also a really strong driving force for me to start talking about gender equity and social justice issues within the swing dance community in Taipei. Hence, I founded Switch Taipei 2019. However, my field work in Baltimore in 2023 like changed completely of how I view myself and how I view my own queerness and how I connect my queerness to the role. Because when I arrived in Baltimore, I was doing field work, I was interviewing a lot of people, I was meeting new people, and Baltimore, it's a place where the mob town is a place where I get to know so many queer dancers. I was in Europe, I was in Taipei, but not many queer dancers in any communities that I was in. And then at Mob Town, I talked to so many people, and after a lot of interviews, like the impact on myself was that I also put myself into boxes because I the connotation of not expressing queerness if I'm not following means that if I am leading, I'm not expressing my queerness. I'm not queer enough if I'm leading. So like, and then why am I putting myself into this box of male leader? This is what I want to break. And then after my field work, after this revelation, I started lead more. And then I found a way to still express myself, still express my queerness through leading more and more. I'm now more comfortable leading than before, ever.
Yeah.
That was like a journey that I
Definitely a journey.
So far.
I even felt myself getting like a little emotional hearing you talk about when you lead, or like for me as a feminine, like AFAB person, when I follow, my queer identity just disappears. And then suddenly everyone starts treating me like something I'm not because I've stepped into the rules of the space that erase queer people. And it's just so, I love hearing that you've gone through this story arc where you fought through those feelings and now you're like getting to own leading without losing yourself, without like erasing that identity. That's so cool. Where does then switch dancing fit in all of this?
I think switch dancing is kind of my first solution to kind of resolve this complicated relationship with my queer identity to dancing roles. At first, when I first heard of switch dancing, I think it was probably 2018. I was in Amsterdam. I was attending this event. Now no longer exists anymore, but it was a really great event. It's called Kobo Swing Dance Camp, and they had switch competition. And then I arrived. I was like, I knew this competition. I love competing. I love performances. I was being watched, and then and then and then I was like, oh, switch competition, what is that? And then I read the rules, and it's like, oh, you dance both roles, and I'm like, of course, dancing both roles, like, that's how I learned to dance because I did.
Literally
that's
3 months in, you're
norm.
like, give me that other side of this dance. I need to swivel. Yeah.
And then I never thought dancing both roles is something cool until that point.
Yeah.
And then I met Jeff, who is also an amazing human being. I work with him sometimes when I was based in Europe. So Jeff was also at Couple Swing Dance Camp, and then we met there, and then we chatted because he was full time doing dancing for full time at the time. So we're chatting about what it's like, what it's like as a full time dancer. And then he asked me one question. He said, like, in Taiwan, who can do both roles at the time? It was 2018. And then I was like, yeah, less than 5 people.
Right.
Oh, and it's a big scene. You said that there's 3 places, so it's a big scene, and people aren't doing everybody leads, everybody falls. Fascinating. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then that clicked, and I was like, oh, that's something unique to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought this idea back to Taiwan, and then I contemplated it, and then I started to thinking about like promoting switch dancing. And I first starting promoting switch dancing is more promoting switching roles in the dance. I know nowadays there are so many ways to, promote switch dancing, the B-roll dancing, the switch dancing, just MB dancing, there's ELES. At that moment, I was only thinking about switch roles. And that turns out well, like people receiving it positively. And that's why I started Switch Taipei. I started school. And after I started Switch Taipei, I realized that switching roles is not the end goal. Definitely not. It's it's how I can create a platform or space where people join, they learn the dance. At the same time, they don't have to worry about their identity and the role. It's being fixed. And because that's how I suffered from being a mask presenting person dancing follow in a space. I always feel like, oh, it's fine. But then a few years later, look back, I was like, oh, I actually had so much microaggression. I didn't even realize that's microaggression at the time. And a lot of them from my really close friends. And so I hope that having Switch Taipei as a platform can create a space for newcomers. They are not defined, the roles are not defined by their gender, not defined by their identity. It's really about what you feel you connect more when you come to the dance. So it's more afterward.
Right. I think your story is proof that we have to be shown that there are other ways to actually be able to settle into what is possible for us as dancers and in our identities. Because if ELEF or switch dancing isn't possible, then we're all just so predisposed to the rigidity of, like, the binary is so rigid, and it's also so silent because we're just so used to it, right? And so what I'm hearing is, like, first you were like, I want to do swivels. And then you got, so you tried something new, but then there was like more of an arc for you than just becoming a mask presenting follow. Then you saw switch dancing. And I love that you went a step further and created something that could show more people that that's possible. It is so important that men or queer people that are masculine get to do things that are pretty and fun and flowy, like swivels. Like,
oh my God. Swivels feel so good in your body too. Like, yeah, it is like, I think is one of the great like harm that the patriarchy like commits is that like literally taking swivels away from like a whole half of the population. How dare you? Like, that's a terrible thing to do.
It's total trash.
Yeah.
We should all be able to be
Exactly.
twirled around the floor if we want to be. And if we don't ever get that experience, literally half the population will never know like what trash.
I would love to hear a bit about the difference between, or like, how is Taipei doing with everybody leads, everybody follows? Is it like, was it super hungry for this space? Or are you finding that you're needing to do more like education to help get people comfortable with breaking down gender roles?
I think with current situation in Taipei, I would say it's way better than I started. I started 2015 when I moved back. It was not good. It was I remember, so I never post anything on Facebook about like renting or something. I share like photos and stuff. I never rant about random person. And then my first rant on Facebook was 2015, so it's still Facebook. Uh, just for the record. And, and I remember my first rant about like gender that I only met once. It was about me being rejected. I was asking for a dance, like a lead for a dance, a male lead. And then he said, "Oh, what?" And then I was like, "Oh, I was used to this, like questioning, question if I'm leading or following." And then I said, "Oh, I'm following." And he said, "Oh, I don't dance with men." That was, and then I was like, "The fuck."
Yeah.
I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then my first rant on Facebook. So that was like the beginning of me realizing that me as a math presenting person dancing as follow already, like, as a disrupting of the rules already.
Mhm.
And then and then I enjoyed that. And then afterwards, I think things got better after I started Switch Taipei, because I think it's really about exposure and representations. I think a lot of times people are ignorant because they don't have the access to what is beautiful there. Let's say that. And having like bigger classes starting to actually having like EOF or Switch content in it. And me as a teacher in the scene, as an organizer in the scene, I think that really helps. Once there's, I don't know if this is a good example, but when I left Taiwan in 2022, some friends in Taipei, they said I'm like swing Guanyin. So Guanyin is like one of the goddess in our region. So they were like, "Oh, I'm like the swing version of this goddess."
Yes.
I'm like always
Yes.
overwatching.
Oh,
Taipei.
So sweet.
For me, I was like, well, okay.
you're like, sure.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's cute. And and I think over time, people understand that like there's like people can degender the roles like properly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, but I think there's still something that we can work on in Taipei is even though the roles are already degendered, I think now there's a trend, another kind of is it a trend or another, I don't know if I have a better word for that, but it's like people know that roles are genders are not connected anymore, but
Right.
they're like, oh, so the leaders, like, it's very subtle. It's like, when at parties and they were like, oh, dress code. So leaders, you wear suits, and then
Mm.
followers, you wear dress. And I was like, what do you mean by that? It's the same thing. It's like the same thing. Like,
Right. It's still the gender role, even though it's changed. So, okay. So let me like clarify a little bit too. When your swing community gave you this very sweet, loving nickname of calling you a female goddess of the swing scene, it's kind that they're saying that you're loving, but you're like, but I'm a man that follows. Not just, I'm not a woman now that I am following. You are very much so holding on to your mask man identity as a follow. I really like hearing that. It's really important to have that and to show that. So I love that that is front and center for you.
I completely agree. And that's such a good distinction. And I think that's kind of the invisibility of that binary is like we are just so steeped in it. And I also think that the fashion is like such an interesting piece because how we present is literally, unfortunately, how people perceive us. And so how does the fashion piece, how do you approach that? How do you decide what to wear on a given day? Or is it more just like, this is who I am and it's natural for me? Or are you making intentional choices when you go out dancing with your fashion?
Good one. I thought about it, especially like the occasion if I wear lipsticks or not.
Oh, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I have like really like big red lipstick.
Mhm.
So I started to wear lipsticks after I moved to Europe. So before I moved to Europe, so that was 2022. So before 2022, I was my home scene was Taipei, and then I never wear makeup, and I have never thought about it. I'm like I already watched Drag Race,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I never felt like putting makeup. And then after I moved to Europe, I don't know somehow something clicked, and then I started to wear that, and then I feel so powerful wearing
Mm.
that.
Someone who's wearing a bold red lip, you can't tell them nothing. Like, yes. Uh-huh.
Exactly. And then so I started to wear that, especially like if it's important for me.
Mm.
Important meaning like if sometimes if like big events like comps or performances for sure. Sometimes it's maybe I feel like today a regular Friday social, but I feel like tonight I want to feel, I don't know, important for myself. Then I wear that. And I think that kind of it's the external validation, and then that grows in, and it become like
Mhm.
internal validation with just putting on lipsticks. And then the ruffled dress also helps as well. I remember I had this thoughts. I was at Bingtown. It was a long event in Boston.
Mhm.
I remember I was so I messed up the prelims time, so I was still eating, and then I heard the music playing downstairs. I was like, "That's not prelim, right?" And then I ran down, like finishing up my food, and I went downstairs, and I realized the prelim is starting,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Damn! I need to like start competing without wearing my signature ruffle purple shirts." I was just wear like t-shirts, and I felt weird.
Mhm.
Oh.
I feel like
Mhm.
this kind of like part of me is missing. So I didn't feel good for that prelims. But then after, thank God still finaled. And then at the final I wear my my purple shirt. I feel like that's kind of like a armor in a way.
Mhm.
It's like
It is.
when I'm
Yeah.
going on the wall, I'm like, I'm gonna wear this. Yeah. So I think fashion is it intentional. Now it becomes intentional. Before
Mhm.
I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just blindly following like the when you step into Lindy Hop world, you have went through this phase of like vintage style.
Yeah. It is a
Right.
phase too. Almost everybody
But
goes through it. Yeah.
It might not be a phase for everyone.
yeah,
I feel like some people just do it always.
Some people
you're
don't leave the
true.
phase.
Yeah.
That's phases work
Yeah,
like that sometimes.
We
yeah,
have that in Latin
true.
dance too. I'm like, still wearing the like sequin dress. Okay. Could never be me. But
Yeah. Now it becomes more intentional. However, after I moved back to Taiwan, I rarely wear this boots.
mm,
I think this is there's the environment and then
mhm.
the people around really also changes how I perceive this action of wearing lipsticks. Now in Taiwan, only when I like MC or like really, really big stuff, I
Yeah.
would wear it. Otherwise, if it's just regular social, I wouldn't feel like wearing that.
Is it because it's just like your home community and you don't need to be as like the word that's coming to mind is armored and or like
Ooh.
as built up, because like if you're emceeing, right, like you're going to be commanding the room, like, you know, anyone who's going to be doing that is going to like be dressing a little fancier and stuff like that. But are you just like, you know, do you not need that at your like regular weekly night social kind of a thing?
Ooh, I that probably I the thought that I had, it was more. I never thought about being more comfortable. I thought about more being like the weird one.
Oh,
Mm.
it's more like that. Like it would be a little less accepted in Taipei. It's not
Yeah.
it, it's that the community, it's not what you'd be doing wouldn't be viewed as casual. It'd be like too rule
Mm,
breaking.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That
I
makes sense.
definitely understand that.
I like remember my dad randomly wanted to like come and see what my salsa dance experience was like. And he like came to a social and I was like, I just like could not relax the whole time. You know, it's like, or like how I'd rather like, you know, bomb in front of 1,000 people than in front of my family or close friends in my living room. You know, like there is something to the anonymity of being out in a space and also where you know there is more queer community. I totally get that. And I also think there's an element too to being queer where you can just we can be changeable. You know, some places
Mhm.
we're here and we wear makeup and other times we're not. And that is such a beauty of being queer is being able to choose moment to moment what you're comfortable with.
One last thing I want to ask about the fashion before we move on is that I noticed that you wear woman style shoes, which I
Oh.
love. Especially I think those like swing sandals. I think they're such a great style. And as someone who also wears boots all the time, I'm like, these sandals are breezy. Like, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about shoes are so important to Lindy Hoppers. What do you think about your choice of shoes and gender presentation?
I think I just, I think this is easy. I want to wear something beautiful. I want to wear something that I feel like, oh, this is great. And also comfortable. Because,
Mhm.
when you're going to a party, you're gonna dance for like 3, 4 hours.
Mhm.
At first I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear these like fancy leather shoes. And then the heel was so hard. And I was like, or it's too slippery. I cannot even like, I can slide okay, but then other triple steps would be very messy. Um, and then I feel like, well, if the shoes is not making me feel comfortable, making me feel beautiful, then why would I wear that? Even though everyone else was wearing that, but that's not for me. And then recently I really like the purple sandals. I also tried heels.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
How
So
high
I
was
think I
the
had
heel that you
I
tried?
don't know how high exactly, but I don't know. I don't know how tall. It's not like super
Not a big one, like
tall.
little heel or like
Yeah,
okay.
a little bit. When I showed this, I was so excited. When I showed it to Katie Cobalt, basically I was like so excited. And then she was like, that's not heels, bitch. It was too,
It's Lindy Hop. How high does she want the heel? I
I
have
know what
something
is
that's
this
like a
called?
half
yeah.
inch heel, and I'm like, this is my heel shoe.
Yeah. Yes. So I think it's just something that I feel I want to feel good. I want to feel comfortable. And I think there are a lot of shoes are very comfortable now, even with heels
Mhm.
or not. But I think for me about shoes is that I've always wanted to. Here's the thing. So colors. I want to have colors. Either like I want white colors, and it's very difficult to find like male size shoes with like purple or pink or
Mhm.
like patterns on it. Is usually like gray or black or
Yep.
white or blue. um and those colors are I don't want those colors on my shoes. So every time I remember growing up, every time I go to like a shoe shop. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. I want this one. And then they would only have like up to, I don't know the shoe size measurement in the US, but like probably up to 8.
Yeah. Just
Mhm.
Right.
not gonna fit
Yeah.
you. Like, yeah. Uh-huh.
Exactly. It's like half of maybe 2/3 of my foot. But then recently, I think a lot of Lindy Hop shoe brands, they are more progressive in a way, I would say.
Mm.
Like
Oh,
they would
cool.
make the maximum size slightly bigger, even though it's a female shoe. Um, so I could fit. And then I was like, if I fit this and then the color is right, I'm gonna get this one.
That's awesome.
That is really
So
awesome. I was thinking, like, actually, I love hearing that the swing shoe brands are more inclusive shoe like sizes, because I would think that they'd be custom made because a lot of people get like swing shoes custom made, and I would think that it would be really hard to find larger sizes in that kind of style. So I love hearing that. I also love hearing just how freaking simple it is. Your answer is like, yeah, I want to feel beautiful and comfortable, and I like nice colors.
I like color.
that's it.
It's so simple. And yeah, everyone probably feels that way. We just don't think that way in our society for some reason. Like, that's just so good. I'd love to transition a little bit into your dance anthropology knowledge
Ooh,
and
yes.
understanding. Can you tell us a little bit more about where and how you found anthropology and how you married that with dance?
Okay. So actually my bachelor degree is not about it's not anthropology. It's not even sociology. It's teaching Chinese as second language.
Oh,
So
cool. Mm-hmm.
so it's language teaching, but it's second language learning. So I think from there I already had some ideas about cross-cultural understanding. I think that plays a very important role in second language learning because we all knew that, learning a language is like learning the culture. That you can speak the words even though you know the grammar, but if you don't understand the culture that comes with the language,
Yeah, especially when it
yeah,
comes to something like Chinese, like Mandarin and stuff, especially if you're teaching that to people that only know Romance languages, like, you're blowing our minds. Like, what? The whole word is the what? Like,
mhm,
yeah, that
yeah.
doesn't yeah, that's definitely would come with a lot of cultural stuff. That's so cool.
And yeah. And then from there, I think I don't know, I started to be exposed. I was exposed to more cross-cultural related classes. Even I started to, I started to do the tour guide job, the walking tour guide thingy. And I think the whole thing with sharing Taiwanese culture and Taiwanese history to a foreigner, it was an English-based walking tour. That was the embodiment of cross-cultural communication. It's
Mhm.
I need to know everything about my own history and culture.
Yes.
But then how do I translate that into simple words that the tourists, they have zero clue of Taiwanese culture and history, could still understand and enjoy a 3-hour walking tour
Nice.
Right.
That's
with
long.
with
Very.
with 86 Fahrenheit degree walking for 3 hours.
That better
That's
be interesting information. Yeah.
This better be
exactly.
good, Jason.
I guarantee it's going to be great and fun. If you come and if you join the tour, it's going to be great. But yeah, so that's like cross-cultural communication. And I think from there, I found a class just called Cultural Anthropology. And then in that class, it's not even a class in my department. It's just I found it somewhere. And then I took the class, and then the thing started to click in me. Um, and I started to dig into more the anthropology side of it. And I think from anthropology, what made me interested the most is there in cultural anthropology, it talks about a lot about like symbols. Like they see cultures or an action or movement is it has symbolic meaning.
Oh,
So that's where I started to dig deeper and beyond what dance is or what dance can bring to us. So like Swivel, yeah, I remember this is kind of like a side story as we talk about Swivel. I remember the first time I was teaching in Amsterdam, it was the same event. I got invited back to the Kobo Swing Dance Camp. And that event, they asked the teachers to give half-hour privates to all the participants could do a 30 minutes private with
oh,
the
whoa.
selected teacher.
That's
I
cool.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the class that I did, it was with a fan presenting like uh bigger, I forgot their pronouns. Let's stick with they. So they are like physically bigger person. They are AFAB, but they're leader. Or they're lead AFAB, bigger person. And then I asked them, why would you choose my class? What do you want to learn from me? And they said they saw me at the teacher's demo. They saw me doing swivel, and that clicks to them because they never thought a mask presenting person can do swivel like that. And then I heard that, I was like, that was so touching. I never thought of a swivel, a movement can carry this meaning.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the movement is a symbol, and then everyone see the same thing, the same movement, but they would have their own interpretation of the same movement. And I think, and then after that, and then I connecting back to the cultural anthropology thing, I started to like just really, I was like fascinated about always thinking about, oh, if this is just a symbol, what's behind it? What's beyond it? What's how people are perceiving the same thing? And I think that took me to digging a lot of more research, digging into like research in culture and history of the dance. And luckily, I found this program. It's dance anthropology,
Yeah.
and
Just in
and
Taipei. Perfect. It's like made for
Amazing.
yeah, the program was the EU funded program. So it was well, yeah. So half of the reason is that, oh, I found this program. I was like, great. And then the real tea is that the real tea was that at the moment my ex partner was doing Ph.D. in London, but I was in Taiwan, so it was long distance. And then getting into this program gave me a really good opportunity to stay way closer to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he helped a lot while doing the application. And then I got it, and we broke up. But I was not ready for that. But things happened, and
Yeah.
then
Yes.
and then I was really happy. I still kept doing that and finishing that. Yeah, so that's how I got into dance anthropology. It's not like, oh, I do anthropology and I found dance and then I put it together. It's just that.
Yeah, the universe is really like pushing you. I feel like your work is going to be very important because it's choosing you more than you're choosing it. Like
Totally.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm hearing like all the boxes for you are checked with that. Like there's the gender, there's the cross-cultural interest and like experience doing teaching languages and the tours. And I also, the idea of dance movement or just dance as a symbol is really, that's powerful. I'm going to think about that a lot. But I also think like a person from Taiwan doing a swivel which is a follows move that's mask presenting, and it's jazz, and you're from Taiwan, that's like an extra element of cross-cultural, So I want to hear a little bit about what jazz is for you. Like, where does the jazz piece, like, where does that land in this whole piece of cultural anthropology for you?
Wow. It sounds like I'm at a like dissertation defense.
Yes. Love that. What
That's probably
is
my
your
Gemini
dissertation? Let's
My
go
Gemini.
for it.
Let's hear
Yeah.
it.
I think
It's
if I
not a
nailed it,
test.
it's not a test. But if I'm at the future dissertation defense, I'm gonna send my professors this part of the episode. I think what's really interesting. This is actually what I'm trying to work on as for my PhD research. Is that jazz is a African American art form. Lindy Hop is also an African American art form, and how as a Taiwanese person, so our body carries the culture. So my body carries the Taiwanese culture. That's how I grew up.
Mm.
And I really want to see how my body, when this Taiwanese body is performing, is practicing a culture or an art form is not from my original culture, and what is the strategy of me adapting or changing for my body to actually fit into um, the dance. That's what I'm looking at now for my PhD research. I'm looking at like how this cross cultural thing would collide together or not. But for me, coming back to the question, how how did jazz come into this to do with my research, my personal research, not like academic yet. My personal research during COVID. I remember during COVID, I was trying to do a lot of things related to dance, but not dancing itself because we could not. And with CVFC, Collective Voices for Change, it's a nonprofit organization founded by a lot of dancers, mostly in Europe, and they had a lot of like online webinars talking about decolonizing the Lindy Hop from that perspective. And from there, I started to realize there's something deeper about the dance. Before that, I knew it's an African American art form. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think from that, I started to do more personal research, and I realized that so dance is like dance, Lindy Hop, and jazz. They are like inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
That's where jazz really come in. Because before that, I think I understand jazz as just the music that I dance to. But I never knew what this music or what this dance meant in the African American culture. And then while I was doing all this research on the culture and the history, I like it clicked me in a way that I've never thought before. Because when I talk to a lot of dancers in Taipei outside, it's so interesting. But most of the reaction from the dancers of Taipei, they were like, "Oh yeah, but it's so far from us." Oh yeah, but it's the like decolonizing. It's important, but it's the United States issue.
Very
It's not Taiwan
removed.
issue.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very removed. And then I was like, oh, I could not argue that. But why am I still? I realized that was what's like make me so deeply connected to understanding like the idea of decolonization and the culture and the history of the oppressed culture and history is that also I also had the life of being oppressed before. That was something that I never realized before. I was like, No, I'm gay. I'm queer. I knew it, but I've never looked back and reflect and then think upon like, oh yeah, that was an oppressed experience. And I think it was this experience that make me make me able, I think, yeah, like make me able to sympathize. Is that a word? Empathy,
Yeah,
sympathy,
Empathize. Yeah.
either or both.
empathize,
Yeah.
Mhm.
empathize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like empathize that, like the importance of why talking
Mhm.
about culture and history is important if we are participating the dance, or if we're participating in this culture. And I think that's also it's the reasoning why I'm still keep doing that even
Mhm.
until now.
That
Yeah.
makes so much sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also such a history of oppression in Taiwan, like culturally as community and an offshoot of this larger culture of Chinese culture.
Yeah, that's also I think basically I would say Lindy Hop make me more political.
Yeah.
It can radicalize
One
you if you're
sentence.
paying attention for sure. That's beautiful.
I never imagined myself if I was like 20-year-old me, like 20-year-old me wouldn't wouldn't go to the parade.
Mm.
I was
Mhm.
those kind of privileged. Well, in Taiwan, I'm a privileged because I'm male presenting,
Mhm.
and I had all the male privileges, and I'm a Taiwanese person in Taiwan. Uh, so the 20-year-old me would like, oh yeah, parade. You know, I don't see values in the parade. I didn't see the value of why people are speaking up for either political reasons or like what is the benefits we need getting out of the marriage. I'm not gonna marry. I'm not gonna marry anyone. Why would I walk on the street and ask for or advocating for same-sex marriage? That was like 20-year-old me. Uh, and then now I'm like, we need to do this. I'm like,
Mhm.
what do you mean you're not going there? What do you mean you're not being political? Like your every decision you're making nowadays in the society is political, especially
Yes.
if a queer person, if you're a person of color, if you are in Taiwan, if you are like the Taiwan and China tension, everything. It was something. No, it is something. So
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that is something that can happen with Lindy Hop because it is a liberatory dance. It's literally in the dance that this is a culture. It was built by African Americans that have been oppressed for so long. And then, boom, the Harlem Renaissance happens and they have their first taste of autonomy and liberation just comes pouring out of people's bodies. And when you dance that dance, you taste that. You feel it. It's in the music, it's in your body. And I think that you touch on something really interesting that I've seen a lot of the Asian dancers in Seattle feel as well of like, oh, well, we're not white people, so we don't have anything to do. I'm not white, I'm not black, I don't have anything to do with this oppression thing. I get to just enjoy this thing without dealing with any of the politics of it. Um, but you're still putting this thing in your body,
Right.
and it is liberation, and it's gonna do some stuff no matter what. I think it's really amazing that you had that experience and you took the liberation and you made it political and you're liberating others through it. I think is really, really beautiful as well. A question that I have that I feel like you might be able to answer more than anyone that we kind of touched on. Why does Asian culture seem to like jazz so much? Like why is like Seoul, Korea like the best place to Lindy Hop like in the world? That doesn't make sense to me. I like need help understanding that.
Okay, so what I know, this is what I from my research or from what I talked to. Um, so South Korea, I'm not sure, 100%. What's sure is that the jazz culture like is really popular
Mm.
in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it has been for a long time. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it has
Mhm.
been a long time, and that shows in there's swing dance community in big cities in Japan, for example, Tokyo or
Mhm.
Osaka, and they are the predominant participants in the community are older as well
Mhm.
compared
Oh,
to other
interesting.
Asian things. And then I was like, why? And then I met this friend, also a musician. She was doing research on the jazz history in Asia, and then if it turned out that the reason why Japan has so strong jazz history and culture is because of racism. So because
Oh.
oh,
Funny how that's
not
everywhere. Damn
racism.
it.
It's damn, we're not getting away from that. Not the racism between Asians or the other. It's actually so Japan is the losing country in World War II,
Mhm.
and South Korea, Taiwan, China at the time was the winning country, right? So, and the United States sent a lot of army to these countries to help them rebuild after the war. And because Japan is a losing country, so they sent the quote unquote lesser citizens, which means
Mhm.
black soldiers, to Japan.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
Hence,
Wow.
they brought better jazz to Japan. I
Right.
think at the same time, Taiwan in the 1950s and 60s, I think felt so South Korea as well. Also has a lot of like financial support from United States. And because South Korea and Taiwan were on the winning side, so they sent the quote unquote um, better soldiers, which is white folks. They
Yeah,
still
so
brought
you got the
jazz, they still
country
brought
music.
jitterbug.
Yeah.
They still brought dance to Taiwan and then South Korea. But the jazz culture is really different. And that's how I know like Japan has all like you if you Google like Tokyo jazz bar, oof, too many. Too many. Yeah.
Interesting.
As far as South Korea, why South Korea has so I think before COVID it was insane. I remember before COVID, I think they had that you could do two socials in one night for like 4 days a week. Two socials, one night,
Oh,
4 days.
that's huge. That's nuts.
It's like, what do you mean? What's happening there? Like, they have so many dancers. I couldn't really figure out exactly why they have so many dancers. What I know, I feel like what they see classes and dancing is more like a sport.
Mm.
When I heard how they train for dance, it was like they have 9 to 5 job, and then after a job they have 3 hours of training. I'm like, what do you do? What do you do in those 3 hours? The first hour was like physical training, like like push ups, sit ups, and then some like
Mm.
physical training, and then fast dancing training, and then partner dancing training.
Wow.
That sounds like how some of the Lindy Hop studios in Seattle function, actually. So
Oh,
that culture
really?
sounds familiar to me, and we have a very
Okay.
strong Asian influence in the Lindy
Mm,
Hop scene here. So I'm like, yep, that tracks. Uh-huh.
That's so
yeah.
fascinating. That's like linking some things. I mean, it's very true also. I'm a salsa dancer that the salsa and Latin dance in Asia is like top notch. There's huge communities, and salsa is also a liberatory street dance
Mhm.
that has the African diaspora to thank for its roots.
I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your Taiwanese identity and stuff as well, especially with being such an international traveler and dancer. Do you feel like you need to be like holding that Taiwanese identity? Does it get erased? Like, do you go somewhere in Europe and they're like, yeah, Jason's Chinese? And you're like, no, no, no. Do you carry that with you at all?
So luckily, I didn't get any like erasure of my Chinese identity at dance events. Thank God. There's just some, micro aggressions
Yeah.
somewhere there. Something like, like all those flight companies, when you choose countries, there will be always like Taiwan dash China. That's
Mhm.
something that it's like really, I don't know if they can change it. And some events, if their website is like the system, like the back end system is already like fixed or something. Sometimes we would file a complaint like, oh, it's not dash China, and they'll be like, oh, we understand, but we could not change that because it's like our back end system. We don't have the engineer to do that. Blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. I think that's like just one example, and others. I remember this. I remember I was at my first ILTC in New York. I think it was 2023. I never felt any pressure ever of competing. Like whenever I compete, it's like chill. It's social dancing, and then final, it's just everyone watching you social dancing to me. And I remember I feel that I need to represent when I was at ILGC that year. And I think it has to do with the build up tension between China and Taiwan from 2023. And then I feel like I wanted to show and represent that, hey, you're looking at a Taiwanese math presenting follower on the international stage.
Yeah, that's like a really big deal. Yeah, I'm glad that you're like pointing that out.
Yeah, but the thing is, as much I wanted to represent, it had so much pressure on myself, and I was not enjoying that part. I was not enjoying the event that much when I had this idea. So I was navigating that. Yeah, and then I think luckily, I don't know. I think it was around the same time I was based in London because my master program allows us to move schools every semester. So I was in London at the time, and I participated in a residency project with Queer Britain, and that project they include mask plus travelers. Travel mask plus immigrants. So they're looking for non-British men plus meaning like anyone who falls under the mask umbrella.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's because, and then we touch a lot about how our national identity influences our life, and then I connect the most with my Taiwanese identity is I remember I wrote that my Taiwanese identity is just like queer, my queer identity. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes some people recognize that, some people don't recognize that. And I think after that residency, I feel even more connected to my Taiwanese identity, and I feel like I'm 3% in a more comfortable way. I think it's not like having too much pressure now. As the first time I feel like, oh, I need to represent. Now it's more like, I'm here. I'm gonna represent. It's like,
love that.
It's the difference.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. It was just such a blast having you here.
Truly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It was very comfortable, even though it's like 2 a.m. here, but I still feel very energized.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for staying up late. And, we got up early to make sure we talked to you too, by having a Seattle to Taipei conversation. It was really, really good. Well, I hope to catch you out there dancing sometime, Jason. I would love to lead and have you follow in a dance together. That would be such a goal for me.
Yes, if you're in Seattle, please come hit us up.
Hell, I'm going to Taipei to get a tour.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Yes, please.
We would love it if you left us a pod review. It helps us so much more than you know.
And you can check out our website at degeneradance.com for resources to decolonize the dance world.
Bye-bye.
That's it. Goodbye.
Ooh, ah, jazz hands.